Marianne had promised to be guided by her mother's opinion, and she submitted to it therefore without opposition, though it proved perfectly different from what she wished and expected. But it was a matter of great consolation to her that what brought evil to herself would bring good to her sister, and Elinor, on the other hand, suspecting that it would not be in their power to avoid Edward entirely, comforted herself by thinking that their longer stay would be better for Marianne. Her carefulness in guarding her sister from ever hearing Willoughby's name mentioned was not thrown away. Neither Mrs. Jennings nor Sir John, not even Mrs. Palmer herself, ever spoke of him before her. Elinor wished that the same forbearance could have extended towards herself, but that was impossible, and she was obliged to listen day after day to the indignation of them all. Sir John could have not thought it possible. Mrs. Palmer, in her way, was equally angry. She determined to drop his acquaintance immediately, and she was very thankful that she had never been acquainted with him at all. Lady Middleton expressed her sense of the affair about once every day, or twice, if the subject occurred very often, by saying, "It is very shocking indeed." Colonel Brandon's chief reward for the painful exertion of disclosing past sorrows and present humiliations was given in the pitying eye with which Marianne sometimes observed him. Early in February, within a fortnight from the receipt of Willoughby's letter, Elinor had the painful office of informing her sister that he was married. About this time, the two Miss Steeles, lately arrived in Holborn, presented themselves again before their more grand relations in Conduit and Berkeley Street. Elinor only was sorry to see them. Their presence always gave her pain. "I am sorry we cannot see your sister, Miss Dashwood," said Miss Steele. "I am sorry she is not well," for Marianne had left the room on their arrival. "You are very good. My sister will be equally sorry to miss the pleasure of seeing you." After some opposition, Marianne yielded to her sister's entreaties and consented to go out with her and Mrs. Jennings one morning. She, however, would do no more than accompany them to Gray's in Sackville Street, where Elinor was carrying on a negotiation for the exchange of a few old-fashioned jewels of her mother. On ascending the stairs, the Miss Dashwoods found so many people before them in the room that they were obliged to wait. All that could be done was to sit down at the end of the counter, which seemed to promise the quickest succession. One gentleman only was standing there. Elinor turned her eyes towards his face, and found him with some surprise to be her brother. John Dashwood was really far from being sorry to see his sisters again. It rather gave them satisfaction, and his inquiry after their mother was respectful and attentive. Elinor found that he and Fanny had been in town 2 days. "I wished very much to call upon you yesterday," said he, "but one has always so much to do on first coming to town. But tomorrow, I think, I shall certainly be able to call in Berkeley Street." His visit was duly paid. He came with a pretence at an apology from their sister-in-law for not coming too. But she was so much engaged with her mother that really she had no leisure for going anywhere. His manners to his sisters, though calm, were perfectly kind, to Mrs. Jennings most attentively civil, and on Colonel Brandon's coming in soon after himself, he eyed him with curiosity. After staying with them half an hour, he asked Elinor to walk with him to Conduit Street, and introduce him to Sir John and Lady Middleton. The weather was remarkably fine, and she readily consented. As soon as they were out of the house, his inquiries began. "Who is Colonel Brandon? Is he a man of fortune?" "Yes, he has a very good property in Dorsetshire." "I am glad of it. I think, Elinor, I may congratulate you on the prospect of a very respectable establishment in life." "Me, brother? What do you mean?" "He likes you. I am convinced of it. What is the amount of his fortune?" "I believe 2,000 a year." "2,000 a year." And then, working himself up to a pitch of enthusiastic generosity, he added, "Elinor, I wish with all my heart it were twice as much for your sake."